Let me show you where we are. You might be able to hear the gulls, or there might be a passing train. That is Morecambe Bay, and this is Grange over Sands, where I'm taking a couple of days and nights out at a spa, actually, just to chill after the excesses of the Christmas weekend. It's a complimentary bank holiday, so nobody's at work except the lovely hotel staff, bless them. At breakfast, the smiley waiter, his name's Lewis, he, with a beaming smile, said, "Good morning, and how are you? Is everything all right?" This is the guy, Lewis, who had very cheerfully served me a cocktail in the hotel lounge the evening before, and he was still up and serving when I went to bed at 10. He literally lives above the shop, he tells me, in a flat, a staff flat above the rather splendid Hall Hotel Spa, where I'm staying on a mini break. I asked him what was it that kept him so cheerful, and he stopped and he thought about it, and he said, "I love what I do." I said, "That's fantastic. Where did you get that from?" And he paused and he thought about it again. And he said, "I got it from my mum. Her advice to me 10 years ago, and I'm 22 now, was do what you love." And he says, "I've followed her advice ever since." He said with a beaming smile. Well, what a lovely young man, and what a kindred spirit. And I would concur with him. He's miles ahead of me. He's way ahead of the game. He's 22 and he's living the life he loves. I must have been, 52 before I stumbled across this secret to a life well lived, which is do what you love. And the first and most important rule of a life well lived. You know the sort of subtitle, the tagline to this channel is exploring life in all its fullness. Well, that's the first step to exploring life in all its fullness, it seems to me, from my experience, and I do try to speak only from my experience on these little vids. Exploring life in all its fullness starts with finding out what you love to do and do that. Somebody once said, if you do what you love, you'll never have to do a day's work in your life. That sort of appeals to me now. And lo and behold, I mean, this isn't work, don't get me wrong, but here I'm recording a little vid, and I'm doing what I love on a beautiful sunny morning. This is another example of what I call pronoia. The elements are for me. The weather forecast for this morning, forgive the vernacular, was shit. I mean, 78% rain. And in fact, I shared a cup of coffee on the terrace, sheltering from the drizzle this morning after breakfast with another guest from the hotel. And she was downcast because it was drizzling. I said, if you don't like the drizzle, wait a bit, it will pass. And lo and behold, look what we've got now. Point number 2 in a life well lived. life in all its fullness. Number one, find out what you love to do and do that. Number two, count your blessings. The first day of the Five Paths course on Lanzarote is called the Via Positiva, the positive path. And the focus is just that, counting our blessings. Practically, we jump in after meditation and breakfast. We jump into a minibus and we explore the island in the guise of a reporter. And I ask the guests on the course to look with fresh eyes. Jerry Lamson has a saying. Jerry Lamson was the official photographer for the Five Paths course. He did it some years ago and took some fabulous photos, which you'll see on the website. Something like, to live life fully, you need to see through fresh eyes. And that's what we do on the first day at Lanzarote. We go for a ride in the amazing volcanoes. It's like a film set from 10,000 BC, minus Rackle Welch. There are over 300 volcanoes on Lanzarote. The first time you come in from the air, to be honest, it looks a bit like an ashtray. I think, what on earth am I coming to? But it is exotic, and the energy from those 300 volcanoes. Some of them are hot. You can cook your fish or your chicken wings just by digging a hole in the lava. We go to Tim Fire Mountains in the south of the island, and he built a fabulous visitor attraction and a restaurant with a hole in the ground where they griddle, is that the right word? Grill the fish and the chicken, and it's served to your table from cooked from the heat of the earth. It's still hot because in geological time the volcanoes and the lava underfoot are very fresh. The last eruption in that part of the island was 1732 to 1736. I'm sounding like a tour guide now. There's a place called Macha Blanca where they have a fabulous Sunday market, all your fresh fruit and cheeses there, goat's cheese, queso de cabra fresca, and there's a lovely whitewashed church called something like La Ermita de Dolores, and Dolores is a bit of a local saint because legend has it that when the local volcano was spewing out lava flows, which was heading in the direction of Macha Blanca village, she prayed to Mary, I guess, very Catholic island, and prayed for the lava to stop. And it did stop just on the outskirts of the village, allegedly, and they built this chapel, this church there. And it's a very lovely, quiet place to go and spend a quiet time after the music and the calamaris and vino blanco in the local sociedad on Sunday market. Anyway, that's one of the things we get up to. That's really the first and most important step. The first step of the Five Paths is an attitude of gratitude. Seeing things with new eyes and counting your blessings. That's just the first day of the Five Paths, and we get back. We have a nice lunch. My day job when I lived on Lanzarote I was called the gourmet gear because I would take people for a Monday walk. And I was renowned for starting with a stop. I would always start with a coffee stop wherever we were, because we'd usually have a mixed bunch of all sorts of different people turn up for the walk. And of course it's nice to get to know each other a little bit, so we'd have coffee and donuts perhaps in a little cafe in Rio or wherever. Then we'd do our walk, but we would end up in one of the best tapas bars for lunch, which on occasions easily ends up dancing on the tables. So if you're into that, you might enjoy the Via Positiva. Well, I think that's all for now. I was going to talk about something a little bit more serious, but I'm afraid I don't want to miss out on this glorious break in the drizzle, and I'm going to walk along the promenade to Grange over Sands for a coffee. Count your blessings.